How's it going, guys? My name is Miguel, and I am a teacher who really wants to help students who want to improve their pronunciation and conversation vocabulary through conversation do exactly that. So, this channel is going to be directed specifically to C1, C2 students. Let's get this shit done. Today, we're going to look at the skills of asking questions of super communicators. I think this is a super interesting conversation topic because it has everything to do with well, talking to people, having good conversations. If that's something that an advanced student needs, something that he should definitely try to do more often. And tips always help. So let's go for that. Let's go for that. Okay, so let's listen to this guy. This guy, okay, his name is Charles Duhigg. He wrote this book called Super Communicators. Thought it was super interesting because here's where he starts talking about the skill of asking questions. And honestly, recently, only recently, has that been something that I've started to pay more attention to when it comes to fomenting good conversations with, the advanced students at Run and Talk. It's really about asking questions that makes people want to engage, want to interact, right? And that's still a struggle a little bit for me. So I was watching this in the with the intention of actually learning from it, and I thought I would like to share this specific part with you guys. So let's listen to him talk about the skills of asking questions and how that connects people in conversation. So let's go. Pause. Let's go back a little bit.
One of the things that we know about super communicators, and this is the first skill, is that, and as I mentioned, we're all super communicators one time or another, but consistent super communicators, people who can connect with almost anyone, is that they tend to ask more questions, like 10 to 20 times as many questions as the average person. And some of those questions we don't even register as questions, are things like, oh, what'd you make of that? Or like, oh, did you like that restaurant? Like little things that just invite us into a conversation. But some of the questions are what are known within psychology as deep questions. And a deep question is something that asks us about our values or beliefs or our experiences. And that can sound a little bit intimidating, but it's like as simple as like if you meet someone who's a doctor, instead of saying, oh, what hospital do you work at? Saying, oh, what made you decide to go to medical school? Right? It's as easy to ask the second question as the first, but the second question like invites them to talk about who they are.
I totally agree with this. I remember when I was, I think, 20, no, I was about maybe 19 max. And I was a missionary still. And I was talking to this couple. One was Carol, the other one was Pedro, I think his name was. And they were together. Very different couple from very different backgrounds, very different states here in Brazil. So also super different culture. And I don't remember what we were doing specifically, but I remember they were right beside me, and I asked them, "Hey, how did you guys meet? How did you guys start off your guys' relationship? You guys remember that day?" And I remember she was just so like caught off guard and having to answer this question, which to me was really surprising. And she really got into the answer, and we really had a good conversation. And I was actually super surprised that she was so involved in talking about this experience. At the end of the day, of course, after a few years of understanding and growing up, it started to dawn on me that, well, obviously she liked talking about this. She liked talking about that experience. She liked um, the memory of that experience, and it was something that flowed out of her naturally because she wanted to. And at the end of the conversation with her, she said, "Thank you so much for asking that question. That was a really cool question." And I'll never forget that till today. I was like, that's interesting. And only yesterday is when I started watching this video, and listening to this podcast. And it reminded me of that moment. And it has everything to do with what I'm trying to do today: join advanced students together in a space with no judgment, where they can interact freely, openly, and really just, have things flow in a conversation that creates connections with each other, you know. So I thought that was really, really cool. Guys, what do you guys think about that, right? When it comes to questions, what are questions that you've been asked or that you ask others or that you've asked others that have really generated a good conversation that has been memorable to you? Has that ever happened? And if it hasn't, what would be a good conversation to start today with someone, right? If you're an advanced learner and you're really looking to interact with others, uh, starting off with a good question is a good way to start it. Okay. All right, guys, that's the game for today. That's it. I think if you guys want to take a look at this podcast, it's in Chris Williamson's channel. It's called The Secret Habits of Super Communicators. Really cool, really interesting, super cool podcast. Okay. Also, it's divided into chapters, which is really nice. You guys can check it out, see which ones you guys like to listen to, and then hopefully have something to talk about. Have someone to talk about it with. Okay, guys, for today, that's it. Thank you so much for coming. This is Miguel. I've been here talking about things that I think that are interesting for. I'm going to keep doing this on this channel to really have a space where we can have a ground for production in terms of interaction. So you can have something to talk about with me or with anybody that you know. Big hug, guys. Hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for coming if you stayed till now. Bye-bye.